Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Welcome back to the garage. I hope everybody's doing good. Um, Today I'll be showing you guys how I took out my rear springs, my rear lower springs. If you're going to do an upgrade for lowering suspension or heavy duty suspension like I did in my case, you're probably going to need to watch this video. It might help you kind of prepare and get some stuff right. Thank you again for the likes and support. Can't say it enough, guys. Without you, the channel won't grow, and I really appreciate it. So I'm going to show you guys what tools I use, and we'll get this party started. So we're going to need a 17. We're going to need a 15. We're going to need a 25. This is kind of like in between because you might or might not, depending on the bolt that's holding one side of the control arm. And we are also going to use, oops, there it is, a 13/16. So that's pretty much what we're going to use to make the install kind of clean and easier to roll with. I'm also going to recommend you getting a 13 with an extension and also a 7. If you have a rear sway bar, you have to take out the sway bar. There are 2 bolts on the bottom right here on each side. You have to take those out in order to release it, because otherwise it's going to hold the lower control arm after you drop it off from that section over there. And I'll show you guys right there. So you see how it's spinning on the back. There you go. So you can either hold it right here, okay, or you can hold it right here. So with the sway bar loose, with the sway bar disconnected, you want to go ahead and attack this sway bar link here and dislodge that. Pretty much you will use I'm gonna use my 17 on the back end to hold it, and I'll use my 15 on the front end. So as you can see, I held that back and I was able to unscrew this. So that's one right there. I always tend to put them back on the actual link whenever I'm done with them. Ratchet. So you can move it, it's gonna lock up. See? So you can hold it one hand while you can do this. And you just repeat that on both sides, and you should be able to. I've already walked on the passenger side. That's why you can see my sway bar has room. So I don't necessarily have to take those 2 screws off. So I'm just gonna rotate it down. I don't know if you can see, and get it out of the way. And I'm not replacing that, so I'll leave it on there. I'm gonna use for that knot, it's gonna be a 7/8. I'm gonna show you guys right here. You have this nut that's there and it's holding everything in place. You can see there's a locker right here that holds everything up as well. So I'm gonna hold that back and then bust the front side of it without any problem. So the back side is a 25 and the front side are 7/8. So I'm gonna hold that up and I'll bust this loose. So again, when you're taking that off, make sure you kind of give yourself enough room. Housing off, but make sure, because you have a lot of pressure on that back end. So that's our nuts. If you can, go ahead and replace all those things. If not, if they're not crossed or anything like that, you don't have to worry about it. Now I have way less tension on the spring, so I'm gonna go ahead and attack the bolt that's back there. The bolt on the back end that I'm showing you right now is attached to the frame, so I don't have to worry about it. I just have to pop the other one that's on the inside right there. I just have to attack that one, and then should be able to bust that out and make sure I'm out of the way, because it's gonna drop because there's still some pressure on that spring. Okay, so what I'm gonna be using is 15/16 right there, 15/16. While you're down here, you can look at your differential, see if you have any leaks, seals, leaking and stuff like that. You can check on all your axles since you're down here and make sure you don't have anything that's too compromised. If so, go ahead and replace it. Don't wait too long, because if you do, it's gonna be super expensive. All right, so I got my extension and I'm gonna try
to tap it out. Again, you see where I'm standing, because I don't want that to drop on me or anything like that. Spring drop. So if you're just doing the spring, you just loosen the back a little bit and your spring is out and you can replace what you need to replace. If you're losing the arm, you got to take it all the way out and drop it and you should be good. So bolt is out. Just got to wiggle it out. And there you go. Again, more replacement for rusty bucket.
You have to get your jack and align it properly after you've set the shock on there properly. Again, like I said, they say it goes either way, but I disagree after finding out the hard way. But you sit that up right, you make sure your boot is set up properly and the little dots are entering inside of the frame. You go ahead and you slide the jacket up and you go ahead and insert your screw. Now on the back side, I'm going to show you that screw right there, the one that holds it in place here. You see how the little holes is pre-made for that. So if you don't have that kind of, somebody jacked up something. I didn't on one side, so I'm assuming that once upon the time it was replaced. So I'm gonna go ahead and sit it there, and I'll get my 316 and I'll bomb that thing in there, and we should be in business. So with that being tightened up, I'm gonna go ahead and, while it's sitting just as it is right now, I'll go ahead and I'll tighten that up as well. Now you always have to remember, after you drop everything and you put the weight on the car back, on the suspension, you have to go ahead and tighten it up a little bit more, just to make sure that nothing is loose or wiggling around. So Alright, so that was pretty much it. It's a pretty straightforward kind of install. It doesn't require much tools or much skills. If I was to put it on the scale, my 1 to 5 wrench, I'll say it's about a 2. If you have all the steps, all the tools, you should be golden. Just make sure you're super careful when you're taking out the spring, because you don't want to pop it on your, or kind of hurt yourself and stuff like that. Also, remember the trick I said, or the tip I gave you, because I never saw that online either on YouTube. But remember that the control arms have to stay on their side, and remember the location of that plastic boot inside the lower control arm. The indentation has to be facing closer, has to be closer to the trunk. Okay, if the indentation, when you're mounting it, if the indentation inside it's closer to the front, then you have it backward. The dealership again told me that it didn't matter, they were interchangeable. When I got the part, I even looked and the part number was the same, but there's a way to put them on and they don't all go on either side. So maybe it's the plastic inside that can get turned around, I don't know, I didn't check on that. But I'll definitely say make sure you have it mounted right, because otherwise it's gonna run pretty rough. But yeah guys, that was about it. Takes about 45 minutes to an hour, and you should be all golden. Don't forget to tighten up everything when you're done with the weight on the car. So make sure you kind of remove the wrench, the jack, and you drop it a little bit so it kind of sags, and you can tighten everything up. If you can get that done, you know for sure you got everything tightened up to specs. Check out the torque specification as well, and you should be golden. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for the support. Cheers.